Attention, please. This is an announcement. So, welcome everybody to the first of its kind DTU IP Pitch Day. As I think a lot of you who are here know, DTU have been very active within patents for many years, and Klaus is going to talk about that afterwards. And it's really, really important for us that the IP that we generate goes out into companies and get used. IP on the shelf is no good for anybody. So that's the purpose of today. It is to discuss and expose IP. We have chosen a new format today. It's kind of a prototype, you could say. It's the first time we try this. We are going to be extremely interested in your feedback on how does it work, what can we do better for next time. And we hope that we will find a good engagement between IP, people, technology, and a lot. So this is really what it's all about today. In order to spice it a little bit, I can promote that we have not just good coffee, we have extraordinary good Rikus coffee down here at the front, which is for free for all participants. I have been there, and if you like coffee, go there. And then I was asked to share input and output information, so I'll give a little bit of output information as well. Toilets are at the back there, in the basement, and out in the hallway. I think that's the most vital information of the day. So I hope we will all engaged. We will find new relations, we will find new networks, we will find new way of talking about IP and technology. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, it's very loud. Is there any kind of? Okay, perfect. It sounds a little bit loud up here, so I don't want to blow you out of the room. I'm delighted to invite you for this event. We are exposing 36 inventions to you, all of you. We have invited a lot of researchers to participate, as well as our usual collaborating partners at the departments, the innovationsansvarlige, and myself. I'm team leader in business development here at DTU. I've made the slides in Danish so everybody can follow, and the presentation will be given in English. It started out with Ørsted many years ago, and it turned into our mission, where DTU develop and make use of science and technical science for the society. And this is actually what he quoted at that point in time to business people and researchers for the benefit of the both, and to enlighten the businessman in renewables, in new inventions, and by this attitude and the way that we make improvements for all kinds of industries. When did it started out with patents at DTU? It's not so long ago, and I will go through the law which was made in 1999. But I think it would be a little bit long to do that. But actually it started out in 1999, and we have been doing this for the past 15, 16 years. What has happened? The researchers have always been very inventive, and by this they will have to turn in all the inventions to DTU at the department which I'm representing. What has it led to? It's actually led to that the inventions were coming in. Researchers started their own businesses, students started their own businesses, business angels, venture capitalists were also getting attention to what is happening at DTU. And in numbers, you see that the numbers of reported inventions have started out, haven't started out from 1999, but it has led to about approximately 150 new inventions every year, which we receive and deal with, mature, and eventually would bring into patents or into business opportunities. The patent portfolio you see down here has gone up to approximately 400 by the end of 2014. What we turn into startups is the upper curve here, where you see the IP-related inventions brought into spin-outs, and all the other startups which are made by students and employees. So we turn in the entrepreneurship at DTU is actually about 50, turns into about 50 new startups and companies at DTU, originated from knowledge and IPR from DTU. If we look upon numbers of license agreement, it's about 15, 20 every year, and sales to companies is about 10. So actually we turn about 30 new patents into license agreement, sales agreement every year. Again, you see rising curves all over the field, which is quite dominating trend. This is our bragging list from last year, so to speak. It's about all the spin-outs and startups we made here at DTU, and we are quite pleased about this quite high number, where we are turning in the knowledge, but also the IPR into new companies. I want to bring out a small case study. It's Nordic Power Converters. They actually got 7 patents in their portfolio. It was spun out last year, in 2014, by the end of 2014. They have raised about 13 million Danish kroner last year, and is on the way to mature a technology for converting a different kind of converter for LED lighting, for any kind of PC. So this is an example of, it's a very good example of how we are turning IPR into a company. This could even has gone into any kind of your businesses, where you might have an interest in that. This guy is actually from the outside. He teamed up with the other guys and formed this company together. It could also have been a company like you, who would go in and get in touch with the researchers by such an event like today, and thereby you could go out and make use of that kind of IPR which are present at DTU. Who are we? We are IIS Business Development. I'm representing that part of DTU where we are in the administration, and we have IIS Skylab. I will come back to IIS Skylab afterwards. And then we are all the 19 departments where we have the researchers and the innovations as well as the innovation responsibles. That is how we work together. We receive all the inventions up here, and then we mature them together with the responsibles at DTU departments, with the researchers, of course, and turn any inventions into a possible patent and thereby commercialize it afterwards. So this is the environment which we're operating in. There are 1,242 researchers at DTU, and we are 13 business development developers in IIS and 25 innovation responsibles and business developer at the departments. So this is the number which we are representing and which are turned into the patent portfolio and thereby the commercialization of such. Skylab. Skylab is for students. That's another way to engage with DTU in order to mature your own ideas and to work together with DTU at a different level. I've chosen to bring this as well because it represents a unique possibility for an interaction between a company outside and DTU as well. They have initiated an initiative where they work with real problems from the outside in Skylab. Foss Electric, for instance, has been part of that. They have made a challenge, and they have gone in and sponsored an event inviting students, and thereby solving some of the problems. They also have development of prototype testing, etc., and make events like that. Thereby, they invite the students to participate, and they bring forward their own ideas of the company. This is an overview. We are up here. The coffee shop is over there, and you have all the room here where all the 36 inventions represented at 33 different posts where you can go and have a look to engage with the researchers, with the business developers. The program for the rest of the day, the first round goes until 2:30, and then there will be a presentation by Hesalite, how they have worked together with DTU. Then there's another 3 pitches up here, having special requests for help, for startup, whatever. And then finally, there's another hour for the second part of the IP pitch. Please visit the booth and get acquainted with the inventions, get acquainted with the researchers, the business developers. And how you make contact is actually by contacting the business developers at the booth out here. The researchers are also on the spot. Christina, where are you? You're there. You can also engage with Christina or Rasmus at the registration up there if you have any kind of request. And the last resort is actually this bowl placed up here. Put your business card in, write whatever you want. If you cannot get in touch with the right people, that's the last resort. So enjoy the day, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody. Could I have your attention for a short while? I hope you enjoyed the first 2.5 hours at the ID Pitch Event, and you get acquainted with a lot of the inventions made here at DTU. Right now we have an event where Hesalite is introducing you to a case where they have collaborated with DTU, and following with 3 pitch cases, Shape Robotics, which is educational robots, multi-bind surfaces, which makes it easier to make multiplex bioanalysis, and Black Silicon, which is in the area of solar cell. Introducing Product Development Director Peter Selmer-Gade, and who would take us through the experience of how to work together with DTU on a specific case. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity of being here. My name is Peter Gade, and I'm the Director of Product Development at a Danish company called Hesalite. We're located in Roskilde, and as the name indicates, we work with lighting. And from a Danish perspective, we're a quite unique company in the sense that 99% of our turnover is from export. We have hardly any business in Denmark, and that's quite unique, especially in the lighting business in Denmark. And we've seen during the last 4 years a very, very rapid growth in both profit and also turnover. Actually, it's been a few 100% every year since 2011, and that's mainly been because of a very unique financial model where we've been able to finance the installations for our customers and reducing their capex installation to zero and giving them a saving from day one. And we've had a history of working together with DTU and specifically DTU Photonics in Roskilde mainly. And they've been assisting us since the beginning of the company in 2009 to do day-to-day measurements and quality assurance and generally working with lighting. And they have they have very, very decent equipment for doing measurements and also some very, very skilled personnel to actually help us out. And we've completed our first technology transfer from DTU. It was actually completed last month, and it's a new piece of equipment that's really going to make our lives a lot easier. And I'd like to explain you, one, what it does and what's the advantage to us as a company, and also give you a few pointers on how to make the collaboration DTU and private companies in between maybe a little bit easier. I honestly don't remember the exact name of the patent, but the commercial name we've given it is TrueLux. And TrueLux is basically a device that's capable of measuring the light intensity from luminaires in broad daylight. So when we've done an installation, we can go out with the device and measure how much light is hitting the road. If we do street lighting, we can measure how much light hits the road, and we don't have to wait till it's pitch dark. And that's obviously easier for many reasons. When we do lighting projects, we first do calculations on how much light is needed, and when it's then installed and all that's done, we need to verify it, and we also need to verify that we actually get the amount of light that we promised the customer, and that's the base for doing the business. And today, it's often done using a manual lux measurement device, which has to be done during night, so we have to wait till everything's dark, and if we have a lot of light points, it's quite a tedious task. We actually have, while we're talking, we're doing an installation where we're going to test out this device in large scale for the first time, and we're going to use it during April, but we're doing an installation of 30,000 light points in Chile. And we have to verify all of them. And we did a preliminary calculation on how much time it would take doing it manually and doing the GPS tagging on where the measurement is done, and it would take roughly 2,000 man-hours to do manually. But this device here is being mounted. It's going to happen next month on 1 or 2 cars, and we can drive around at roughly 50 kilometers an hour and do the measurements as we drive. And we can reduce the 2,000 hours down to 40 to 60 hours of man time. So from a cost point of view, it's really a lot easier, and also from a maintenance point of view, when we have to do follow-up measurements, it can really make our lives easier. And I'm sure we'll find many more applications with this device, but this is the most obvious one we've done so far. And it was actually it was a little bit of an accident that we bumped into the invention here at DTU. It was because we knew the guys at DTU Photonics and were presented with the the invention after it was basically finished. And if we were to see how we could expand our cooperation with DTU, I think it could be helpful to be introduced to good ideas such as being done here at this presentation on in a more consistent manner, because getting inventions such as this shouldn't be like done by accident. It would be nice to have like a formal introduction of what's being worked on, at least seen from the company eyes. Also when the device was presented to us, it was both the patent applications. It had already been filed a long time ago, and the devices were almost completed. So we've had a small period where we have to adapt the techniques to our needs, and we've been presented with some other patents from DTU where they've been a little bit too finished to our taste, actually. So if we were to see how we could get more success out of working with DTU, it would probably be to get introduced to the projects as an early stage as possible. And I think practically using company PhDs would be a good way of doing this. So I'd say that we would very much like at Hesselite to be introduced to as many as your good ideas as possible, and we'd also probably could be a good idea to work under an NDA, so you can do it before getting too far in the patenting process. But I think it would be a good way of introducing synergy, both from the companies could maybe introduce a little bit more reality into the research, and the research could funnel more great ideas into the private sectors. But that's at least been that's how we've experienced working with DTU. And that was what was on my mind. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Thank you.
Hello everyone. So my name is David Johan Christensen. I'm Associate Professor at DTU Electro, and this is Mikkel Lukas Overby, who is a business developer, and we are both co-founders of Shape Robotics. So we founded Shape Robotics with the purpose to change the way that children are educated. We wanted to create a new type of system that enables children from an early age to create and build their own robots. We believe that building robots and programming robots is extremely important for learning about things like innovation, welfare technology, learning about complex problem solving and programming. However, there is a need for a new type of system. There is a gap in the market between programmable toy robots on one hand and industrial service robots on the other hand. So there's a need for a new type of system which we believe should include the ability for the user to create their own types of robots and do it with a system that has a quality and a reliability so that they can build robots with advanced functionality, but still simple enough for them to get started with the system very quickly and gradually improve the solutions that they develop to have a progression in the learning. So therefore we built the Fable system. So Fable is a modular robotic system that enables anyone to become a robot designer. It consists of a toolbox of robotic modules that the user can snap together in many different configurations to create different types of robots. It comes with different types of programming languages, from very simple, basic programming languages that you can snap together to start programming the behavior of the robot, to advanced textual programming languages. And during this process of building robots, the children learn about things like math, like physics, They learn to program, and they learn to think in new ways. They learn to solve problems. And we know that this type of system, because it's so easy to build with, fits very well into the educational environment. It takes literally minutes to set up the system in a classroom, minutes to take down, so the time for teaching can be fully utilized. So, the teachers love it. We tested it with hundreds of children, ranging from second graders to high school students. And we know, and we can say with confidence, that this system fits the needs of the educational market.
Yes, thanks, David. I'm messing up from the start. Can you... Okay, I'll start to talk a bit about the slide anyway. The educational market for robots is a very interesting market. It has an estimated market size of around 6 billion Danish kroner. And we estimate that around a third of that is what we call non-industrial robots, which is our serviceable market. It has a growth rate of approximately 16% per year, estimated up until 2020. So it's also a market in rapid development. We believe that we'll be able to capture a market share of 2.5% within 5 years, amounting to around 100 million Danish kroner. So there are a lot of competitors on the market, but we believe that Fable is actually uniquely positioned in the market due to its being a relatively advanced robotic system with extremely short construction time, low construction time. And also it's available at affordable prices compared to the competition. Our business model is based on hardware sales. We have a number of hardware packages, a starter, a basic, and a premium, and combined with online subscription for teacher services. And we believe that the fact that it's a modular system, which allows us to actually sell more hardware combined with online subscription revenues, will increase the lifetime value of our customers compared to competition as well. So where are we today? We've spent a bit over 4 years developing the system. In October last year, we founded Shape Robotics to take the system to the market. By the end of last year, we had raised 1.5 million Danish kroner. We submitted the first patent application, and we've sold basically all our prototypes and have a decent pre-order list as well. So currently we are trying to grow our team. We are setting up for production. We are planning our marketing. We will present the system for the first time at 2 conferences in March, which is basically our minimal viable product, and we will deliver by September this year. We're also looking for capital, so we're raising a seed round in either Q3 or Q4. So if you find our company interesting, then please come and talk to us, booth 13. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody, my name is Ulrik Boas. I'm from the Veterinary Institute, DTU, and I will tell you about something completely different than robotics, but maybe it can be used together with robotics. And this is multi-bind surfaces, a way to make things easier when you do multiplex analysis. And the field is bioanalysis and especially high throughput diagnostics for bacterial infections. And many of the methods that are used there is actually measuring antibodies against a specific infection. The measurement is done on biofluids, and that is like blood and serum, or urine, or saliva, or milk. And worldwide, these methods are used for diagnostic surveillance and in medical care, so it's a widely used methodology worldwide. Of course, there's also a lot of demands for that. You want to have very sensitive analytical methods. But on the other hand, you also want to have very low-cost methods. And in this specifically way, it's short preparation and analysis time is very important. Conventional analysis is done by, you can say, single sample analysis, where you actually capture antibody in a sample. If you want to test for, let's say, 4 bacteria, you often need to do 4 different tests. However, to shorten down the time, you can do simultaneous analysis of several bacteria in one test, and that is called the multiplex. And this is actually the area where this method I will tell you about is in. A particular process in doing multiplex analysis is to put a bacterial fragment onto a surface in order to be able to measure antibodies in the sample. And this is a crucial step in the sense that if this step really doesn't work, then you don't have a very sensitive analytical method. Today it's often such that you need to have different ways to put antigens down to surfaces in order to measure on your sample, and that's a time-consuming step. So the invention is about modifying the surface in a way that you could put a large variety of different bacterial fragments into the surface. We have used this method and have seen that it actually saves time. It's quite flexible with respect to the antigens, and it also gives very sensitive readout in the assays. We have implemented it in some analytical tests in our institute, and can see that it actually works quite well within these bead-based assays. But you could imagine also that the surface could be something else. It could be a spot on a microchip, or if you have microfluidic systems, then you could also combine that with this method here. So it's quite versatile. So the people that I'm looking for is companies or serum institutes that actually works within human or veterinary diagnostics, develop and sell kits, and sell also, let's say, components to kits. That could be chips or microfluidic systems or microbeads. And of course, if there are some fundraisers or entrepreneurs, I'm very eager to talk to these people. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rasmus Davidsen, a PhD student from DTU Nanotech, and I would like to tell you about black silicon solar cells. So what we do is that we etch nanostructures like these into the surface of silicon in order to make the silicon extremely black. That means it's very light absorbing, and that's why we want to use these nanostructures on silicon solar cells. So basically today, commercial silicon solar cells lose about 2 to 8% of the incoming light because of reflection. So 2 to 8% of the light, depending on which type of cell, is actually reflected away from the solar cell and can't be used. Now, we have developed a new type of solar cell that actually absorbs up to 99.9% of all the incoming sunlight, and that's why we believe we can make solar cells more efficient in the future. The nanostructures that we etch look like this from the side and from the top. You can see they are conical-like hillocks spaced 300 to 400 nanometers apart, and also 300 to 400 nanometers in size. And this is the surface topology that makes the surface extremely black. If we put it on the same scale as the structures on the surface of conventional solar cells, you'll see that our structures in the bottom here are much, much smaller than the usual structures on the surface. And this has some advantages, both in terms of material consumption. You can imagine that to etch these pyramids, you lose a lot more material than to etch these small structures. That also means you could start from a thinner silicon substrate and make much thinner solar cells that would be cheaper and flexible. The technical version of something being very black is that it's extremely anti-reflective. So here you see a measurement of the reflectance of our black silicon. And you can see that in most of the visible and relevant part of the sun spectrum, it's way below 0.5% down to 0.2, 0.1% reflection. So this is much, much more anti-reflective than in the industry today. The commercial idea would be to replace the existing surface treatment called texturing in silicon solar cell production with this new nanostructure process. So basically, to produce a finished solar panel requires about 40 process steps from the raw material polysilicon and all the way to the finished panel on the roof. We would only replace one of these process steps, this texturing, with our new process and thereby make solar cells more efficient and cheaper to produce. So when you replace this one process step with another, first of all, we do it to make the efficiency higher because of this enhanced light absorption. For the end consumer, that actually means cheaper energy in terms of dollar per kilowatt hour. But we also believe to make the actual production of the cells cheaper, even if the efficiency is not increased. And that's simply because we replace one step with another process step. So if that is cheaper, we can actually save money in the production without considering the possible higher efficiency. And recently we found out that we can lower the thermal budget of the production, which is also very important in terms of cost and the CO2 emissions from the production of the cells itself. So here you see a measurement of the resistance, which is the characteristic parameter we're interested in here for the solar cells. And comparing our surface to the normal surface, we can actually get the same properties but at lower temperature and shorter time, and that will save money in the production. Furthermore, there are some additional benefits in doing this. We have developed a very simple one-step process which can be scaled to the solar industry throughput, which is obviously important. It can be applied to different kinds and crystalline grades of silicon, going from monocrystalline to multicrystalline and what we call quasi-mono here in the middle. These are all relevant and used materials in the solar industry today. And the same process works on all of the materials. And we also recently found out that our black silicon solar cells actually perform better at a broad range of incident angles. And this is very important because realistically, the solar cell will be subject to many angles during daily and yearly operation, and also in cloudy weather, for example, when it's a very diffuse light that hits the cell. So this would mean that our cell would produce more power during the daily and yearly variations and, for example, in cloudy weather. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes the pitch session here. I think what's all about is actually that somebody from the outside join DTU and get acquainted with what is happening at a technical university. It is about people connecting, people getting acquainted with inventions they never thought of. And like Peter said, from Hesalite, I mean, he would even like to enhance the interaction with DTU in order to make even better patents for his company. So with that, I think that we have gained the results of today. At least we heard some good stories how to progress. We heard some good pitches where people need further funding, further interaction. I would urge you to spend the rest of the time here to get acquainted with those people who you hadn't had the chance to meet. And from my side and from the organizing team, I would thank you all for joining this and wish you a nice afternoon. Thank you very much.